Hello everybody and welcome to Ed's Boat, and we are over 800 subscribers. Unbelievable. So thank you very much to everybody. Also, your comments and questions have been brilliant. I can't believe one or two of them, how good they are. I will address that on another video. So last time we spoke, we were putting up the ceiling fittings and carrying on with that. I didn't film absolutely every part of doing that because who wants to see me putting up loads and loads of tongue and groove? But what I did do was took a bit of film footage of when we were fitting the lights and how it all worked out. So let's get straight over to the boat and we'll have a look at doing that. Oh yeah, and my glamorous assistant's back.
Hi.
Right, the next piece of wood we put in is going to have the lights mounted on it. So we've got our wiring coming out the roof, but we need to drill the holes to feed the wires through, which will take the light fittings. So what I've done, and I'll show you on the other side, which is already done, is obviously you feed the wire through ready, and there's going to be one, two, and three lights on this particular piece of wood because it's quite long. So I need to make a datum. A datum is a stable reference point in which to take your measurements from, so you get everything nice and in the right place and nice and even. So what I've done is I've used the steel banding that goes across the roof, which holds the battening in, which is what we're fixing to. So this steel banding goes right across to the other side of the roof, just there, look, and it is welded in, it doesn't move, so it's a good datum. So the other thing I've done is I've made a note of my measurements here, which tells me from that point there to there where that light fitting is, it is going to be 12 inches. I'm working in imperial at the moment, I just prefer to do that. So I've done that all the way along. And the same here, there's another line marked in here. So I know exactly what to do. So the next thing to do is to take a new piece of wood, mark out, fix it up, measure it all out, and then mark out exactly where these holes are going to go. Okay, we have marked out the centre for our hole. So with the cordless drill and the hole saw, we're going to start making the hole to take the light fittings. Now it's important that you start the drill in exactly the right position. And that's pretty good, I like that. So we're going to carry on. Now, what you'll notice is when I'm drilling this, the drill will clog up. So I constantly have to keep unclogging it. So do be careful, and while you're unclogging it, I'm using my finger. Don't press the trigger, it will cause an injury. So let's give it a go. And there we are, we've cut through, and there's the old piece in there, and we've got a nice, pretty accurate and clean hole in a piece of wood. So I just moved the sawdust out of the way, and it's quite important now that there will be some rough edges, so I'm just gently rubbing those off with a file, really gently, because this wood's really soft. So we'll do that, and this will just help the light fitting go in. So there we are, that's the first hole drilled. Now do be careful, once you've drilled the hole, the wood on this side and this side is now quite thin, and it's quite a long piece of wood. So when you lift it, make sure it's well supported, because you don't want to go through all this performance of measuring and marking out and buying the wood and it break. So what we'll do is we'll do all the others, and then we'll have a quick look at how the lights fit in. Okay, let's have a look at the lighting I chose. And I chose these LED lights. They are by Sycamore Lighting Limited. I've never heard of them. I just pulled them off the internet because I needed a specific type of LED light. And here it is. This is what I chose. Now, the reason I chose these was for the dimensions. There are 24 LEDs in there, which seems enough to me. But more importantly, there is a 1mm gap. So that is 1mm. So it only pokes outside of the woodwork by 1mm, and it's a really smooth finish there. So I need headroom inside the boat, so I can't have anything hanging down that I'll catch my head on and stuff like that. So these suit my purposes brilliantly. And more importantly, the dimension here is only 11mm, and the wood I'm putting it into is just over 12mm thick. So this was a brilliant buy. What it also comes with is an extra lead, and this lead has 2 plugs on the end that you can use for wiring in, and the light will just plug in like that, and it sort of snaps together. What I've been doing is I've been wrapping a bit of insulation tape around it to secure it a bit better, just to stop it shaking out for any reason, just to be on the safe side. But what this means is, if ever I have to do any maintenance work or remove it for painting the woodwork or anything like that, I can just unplug that, take it out of the way, and then when I finish, plug it back in, and it will snap up inside the hole. So if I get my demonstration piece, this is just a piece of offcut that I drilled another hole in just for demonstration purposes, and it says in the instructions, drill a 58mm hole. I haven't got a 58mm saw, I've got a 57mm saw, but with chatter it works out about 58mm, and this is a really tight snug fit, and that's what it will look like. It will just sit in there, held in by 2 steel clips, and there you are, and it's a nice flush fit with only 1mm intruding into the cabin area, so that suits my purposes brilliantly. Now I'm using these on the whole of the boat, and I have bought more than I need, so I'll always have a couple spare. So if one day a light faults further down the road and you can't buy these anymore, I've got some spare to fit in. So just thinking about further down the road. But in the meantime, I have fitted 4 of these, and they're very, very good so far. I'm really pleased with them. How reliable they are, well, we're yet to find out, but LEDs in general are really good anyway. But yeah, that's what I'm using. So we just need to put all the lights up, and we'll have a look at what it looks like. Okay, we have fitted all our lights. They're all in place, they're wired in, the power supply is in temporarily, but we are ready for the big switch on. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, go! And it's a success. Really pleased with that. Yeah, not bad at all. Let's have a quick look at what I've done. So I've put 4 lights in for the living area, up against where the chimney for the stove comes out. I've left a big square hole there. I'm going to cut away the edge of that insulation just to make a decent fire gap between the fitting and anything that might be combustible, and that will be filled with proper thermal sheet. So that's the 4 for the living room. Then we get to the kitchen area. There are 4 lights to illuminate the kitchen area. Drilled a hole for the skylight. Then we move down to the bathroom area. There will be 1 light for the bathroom, and then I've moved the light fittings over to the other side of the boat, right against the edge, because this is going to be a corridor around the bathroom. So I've had to move the fittings over slightly, so there'll be 1 here, 1 further on there, and then 1 for the bedroom. But there will be lamps in the bedroom that will run off the side. So that's what I've done so far, and all this has been tongue and groove. So if I move down to the back of the boat, it took me 3 trips to the builders merchants to get the tongue and groove, because there was that much of it. I didn't want to store it on the boat. I'd be tripping over it. You know, it didn't give me a decent enough space to work in. So I brought it in 3 separate loads, and it is a lot of wood. It was surprising. So I did the first set of light fittings down at the blunt end and put the wood in there. That took me about 3 days to do. And once I got a system running and I figured out the best way to do it, I then went a bit quicker. So the rest of it was done in about 3 days. So the more or less 2/3 of the boat was done in 3 days, including the wiring. They were long days though, and I did exactly what I wanted to do to try and catch up on the work a bit now. So I'm now to the point where I wanted to be at the beginning of January. So quite pleased with that, but I still am a little bit behind schedule. That brings us to the end of another episode, and I need a favour from everybody out there. It occurred to me that I've not done a lot in terms of boating. I've done a 40-minute journey to get to the marina, and that's pretty much it. So if there's anything that I need to do to become a proper boater, like a rite of passage, any suggestions that you could offer so I could tick them off my list to become a proper boater, if you could suggest that, I'd be eternally grateful. And don't say falling in the canal, because yeah, you know at some point it's going to happen, but I'd rather not put it on my list, if you know what I mean. But yeah, anything that you can do that that would make you regarded as a proper boater, do suggest that, and I'll put that on my list, and then we'll tick that off as we go along. But until then, Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Don't ask.